All right, man. Let's talk about the Detroit Lions and Philadelphia Eagles fantasy plays this weekend. Obviously, we know they play at Ford Field in the dome. Perfect temperature, the whole nine. So I do this every week, or try to do this every week for the Lions game. Talking about the fantasy plays, I would do them for the Michigan State games, but I don't follow college like I used to follow it when I was younger. Um, so that's the only issue for me as far as college. But yeah, you got a game that's supposed to be pretty high scoring. So I'll give some daily fantasy advice. Um that's pretty much what I kind of expect. That's what I play the most. But I did enter a fantasy league, a standard fantasy league, so I kind of be a little bit more. Um, I'll be a little bit more invested this year, trying to win my regular fantasy league. But I'm more of a DFS guy. Um, that's kind of where I roll with it at. So so let's pull up. Um, so one of the things that they teach you to use, especially when you're playing daily fantasy sports, which daily fantasy sports is basically you get some money. Um, you get a certain amount of money. I think like depending on what you play, like 50,000, and you build your team. Yep, you build your team. Quarterbacks cost a certain amount of money. High price players cost a certain amount of money. Um, and you build a team based off financially based off of how you want to spend the money. So you pick a quarterback, two running backs. I think it's three receivers, a flex, in a defense. They eliminated the kicker a couple years ago. So obviously you look at this number, the over and under 48 and a half points is the over and under. So pretty much going to be a good scoring game. I mean, you see the Raiders and Chargers have a 52 and a half points, so that's very high. You see 43, 40, not too high. San Francisco, not too high. In Cleveland, solid 46 and a half. In New England and Miami. Um, the bookies usually they're talking about 44 and a half, and the Ravens and Jets, and 42 and a half, not too high in New Orleans and Atlanta, 45 and a half, Indianapolis and Houston, 44 and a half there. You got a high scoring game here with the Bills and the Rams at 51 and a half. So, I mean, the highest one we got 52 and a half, so 53 and a half, Kansas City, Arizona. So, I mean, that lets you know if you playing daily fantasy, you got a lot of, team, they're going to score a lot of touchdowns. And kind of week one is a lot of times is a mystery, but Vegas knows what they're talking about. Minnesota, Green Bay, not a bad line, 47 and a half. Tampa, Dallas, 50 and a half. 43 and a half, 53 and a half, Kansas City. So we're going to week two, excuse me. So 53 and a half is the highest we found. So, but but for the Lions, 48 and a half is a really good number. And and when you talk about the players that you want to take in this, I think I would I would Jalen Hurts. Last year wasn't the biggest game versus the Detroit Lions, but I would go with Jalen Hurts from the Philadelphia side of things. And definitely a play, um, depending on what your alternative options are. But I mean, I definitely gonna have Jalen Hurts in daily fantasy. He definitely will be in at least one lineup for me, one main lineup, because you could play main Sunday. You could play the entire Thursday through Monday slate. You could play 1 p.m. games. You could play on either the late window games or the afternoon games. So yeah, I think Miles Sanders is worth another really good play. Don't know where that Lions run defense is going to be at for Philadelphia. Dallas Goedert, very very questionable, very questionable Lions linebackers and safety in Deshaun Elliott. So I think it's going to be a lot of points scored um, on the Eagles' standpoint of view. Last year they scored 44 points. Remember, Miles Sanders didn't play. I think Dallas Goedert is a really, really strong play. And they got a plethora of running backs too. I mean, you just don't know. Miles Sanders just don't never be healthy neither. So that's something to look at too. So that's something major to look at. But AJ Brown, you want to AJ Brown, you always want to go with AJ Brown as well too. So I'm gonna tell you my super play for Philadelphia. My super play is gonna be Devontae Smith. Um, I think matching up against Okuda, matching up against the slot. Didn't have a big game versus last year. But my super play is gonna come down to AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. If you play in daily fantasy, you always want to have guys that have that's low ownership. I mean, so if you're playing regular, I think Devontae Smith is a must start. Matchups on the slot, matchups on Mike Hughes, matchups on Jeff Okuda. I like matchups on Amari Rari. Did a great job on him last year. But I like him a lot. If I didn't go with him as a super player, it'd be Dallas Goedert in AJ Brown. It's one of them three for me. As the you got to play, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, for the Eagles, Devontae Smith is you lock it. If I'm gonna avoid something with the Eagles, um, I'm gonna go. If I'm gonna say you got to avoid this with the Eagles, I'm gonna say I'm gonna go ahead and say defensively, I'm gonna avoid that with the Eagles, but I won't say that's a hard. I wouldn't mind if you play the Eagles defense, but I think there's other better defenses to play out there. But out of all the great options for the Eagles, I would avoid the defense. But if you have to play the Eagles defense, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't be surprised if they had another big day versus Golf and the Lions, especially with High Tide being out. So I wouldn't really be surprised. I won't say you won't play them. There's just so many great options to play on the Philadelphia side of things. So it's my opinion on that. But now on the Lions side of things, I mean, obviously, Golf is supposed to have a big year. You like Shark, you like Ahmad Ra. I mean, you like Josh Reynolds, you like TJ Hawkinson, who had a big game versus Philly last year. I mean, DeAndre Swift didn't do too much. Did he play? I can't remember, but so obviously, I'm locking in. My lock is TJ Hawkinson. I'm locking that in. But I've had a second to close lock is Amon-Ra St. Brown. And excuse me, my sneaky play for Philadelphia is Miles Sanders. All right. So I'm dealing with my two locks, kind of the two I'm considering. I think my sneaky play for Detroit is DJ Shark. All right. That's my sneaky play. I would daily fantasy. I'll get some ownership of Jared Goff and see what this new offense look like. I'm gonna have at least one. I would be mad if you have at least one lineup of Jared Goff. You got other better options in standard fantasy. I guess you would take them, but I see Goff doing a lot better than last year. But my sneaky play is DJ Shark. And I avoid obviously the Lions defense. I would avoid the Lions defense. But yeah, you always DeAndre Swift. He always a big playability. I think that's a given. You always play DeAndre Swift. His big play. He's catching. There's just a variety of ways he can do things. So PPR leagues, you Swift. So that's common sense. So. But yeah, but I avoid the defense. So it's a lot of good plays here. I think it's a lot of heavy plays here, to be honest. I think it's a lot of heavy plays here, man, that you want to play here. So I probably avoid the defenses, but I like I said before, I probably wouldn't be mind if some people play the Philadelphia Eagles defense, but there is some mystery there with this new Ben Johnson offense. So there's going to be an adjustment period. There's going to be an adjustment period there. So But yeah. That's kind of where I'm standing at it with kind of some of the plays that I roll with. But I'm gonna have a lot. If you're talking just daily fantasy, or you just want like advice, if you stuck in a lineup, I'm gonna have a lot of. I'm gonna have a lot of Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm gonna have a lot of Devontae Smith. I'm gonna have some Dallas Goedert in my lineups. I'm gonna have a lot of Hawkinson in my lineups. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of those play. I mean, some AJ Brown, and kind of for some low ownership out there. I'm gonna have a lot of DJ Shark, and I'm gonna have kind of like for lower value play. I'm gonna have a lot of Shark and a lot of Josh Reynolds. They price really low. Um, so it makes too much sense not to get some of that. I play most on FanDuel. I don't really play a lot of DraftKings. I think the same company own them though. I just got used to the FanDuel interface. So yeah, we talking daily fantasy talk. I'm like for some sneak plays, or it's some plays to fit cheaper guy fit bigger price guys in there. And that's how, quote unquote, that's how you take down big tournaments and win big money. On daily fantasy, you can win $1 million, hundreds of thousands of dollars and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, kind of like, those the difference is those small value players that hit above their value. So I mean, you talking about I believe Josh Reynolds is 5,100 on FanDuel. He has a great connection with Jared Goff, and I believe DJ Shark is 5,300. So I mean, you just talk about some guys that's just down in general overall. Um, you know, uh, Marvin Jones Jr. for Jacksonville, 5,500. Um, Jarvis Landry for the Saints, 5,700. New England Patriots, Devontae Parker, 5,700. They got to do something, right? Traylon Burke, I had Hunter Renfro is a great play at 5,900, kind of a forgotten guy in a high scoring game. Adam Thielen is priced down to 6,100. So, I mean, Devontae Smith is priced at 6,100. I mean, there's some sneaky plays there. I'm not going to reveal my favorite, but I'll give it to y'all. Nobody listen to me, no way. My low key favorite play is kind of like one of my favorites is Juju Smith Schuster. I love that play. So there's some good plays out there. So want more advice on daily fantasy sports, you can always hit me up. I can point you in the right direction. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram by hitting the link tree. You can find me there. Also, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Appreciate the love, support. Let me know what you think in the comment section. One time for the one time. Mercy Sports Talk. Check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist for more videos like this. Peace.